Hey folks, this is Dusty with Rusty Reels, and I'm digging back in my old milk crate to see what kind of reel I want to pull out. And I'm pulling out a Mitchell spinning reel, an S2000. Now the S I think stands for saltwater, but it's a little small reel. It's only supposed to put 6-pound test on. It's what I'm showing on the spool. So, and it looks like I had put some 30 or 40 pound braid on there. So we're going to remove all that and put the right line on there, and we're going to do a full breakdown of this so we can see how it breaks down, and then do a cleaning and a full restoration on it, hopefully, and get it back functional so we can go fishing with it. And as I pull the spool off, you notice I got a little line wrapped around the main drive. So we'll pull that off, try to clean that up a little bit and see where we lay. Like I said, the reel has seen better days, but I think it's a really good quality. It's supposed to have 3 ball bearings, or it says 4 ball bearings. I think it has 3, or I don't know what they count for ball bearings. This is the drag. Notice the drag washers in there and the little spring that goes with the drag washers. Be careful with that spring because mine is gone now. It flew away. If you try to release that spring, put your hand over it or something, pull out the drag washers, and like I said, this gone. A little nasty on the inside, that's your little click. The handle, like I said, it's seen better days. I'll probably have to replace some of the handle. And this little piece of nylon fell out when I pulled the handle out, so remember to replace that. It was on the screw side of the handle. We'll pull the handle, we'll pull the spool. We're going to try to do a full breakdown of this unit. So we're going to pull the bell and everything off, unscrew the bell, and take out all the springs and everything. If you don't have to do this, don't, because there's 2 springs and it is complicated to get back together properly. So I took it all apart because I wanted to do a full breakdown of this. But once again, if you don't have to do this, don't do it. Since I'm doing the full breakdown, just be aware of all the springs and all the little S hooks that go on the bail across there, and notice where they sit in there, and be careful. That spring will go flying in a heartbeat. You look around, won't find it, and then you'll be ready to chunk the reel. But now it looks like we're getting to the main shaft and the ball bearings and anti-reverse and such as that. So we're going to pull that top off, and as you notice, it's in pretty rough shape, but I think we'll be just fine once we get that thing cleaned up. Pulling off the side plate here, this says you'll be able to see all the gears on the inside now. Anti-reverse, when you pull the cover off, you see on the inside it's got some gunked up gunk inside. The main things that cause these reels to seize up is the ball bearings. That first ball bearing that's on it's on your main gear, it's on your main drive. And this one seemed to be free, so we're going to lube it up, and I think it's going to be okay. But that's why you keep a little grease in there. And as you use these things in salt water, you've got to wash them out as much as possible. All right, right here we're removing the screw to the oscillating gear slider. Now make sure you keep up with your screws and know which is which. The best thing to do is just take a picture of everything before you undo it. That helps. All right, this is the anti-reverse ball bearings. It has the needle bearings in it, and they just along with that nylon holder in place, they just fell out. So there should be 6 of them. Make sure you keep up with them. They're pretty easy to put back in, but it looks like they're gone. But save every one of them. We can stick them right back in once we clean it up. Now this is your pinion gear. Most of them are made out of brass. I just had a unit I broke down that was pinion gear is made of aluminum, and it's just cheaply made. So your brass pinion gears are the way to go on this. Now this is part of your anti-reverse and all those needle bearings that you saw. If you look at it, it has little dots on top. If you're looking down at that, the dots must be on top when you put it back together, or it will anti-reverse the wrong way. You won't be able to reel. So, all right, this is an oscillation gear that moves your line spool up and down, so that your line just doesn't all gather when you're reeling in. It just doesn't gather in one place. It moves up and down and distributes the line up and down the reel. All right, all the parts are taken. Every piece is taken apart, and I've got ready. We've got it ready to put in the ultrasonic cleaner. So we'll give that a shot and see how it turns out. The Mitchell spinning reel, the S2000 breakdown. We broke it down all the way, and these these are the million parts that come inside of it. We put it in the ultrasonic cleaner. Say that quick 3 times. Ultrasonic cleaner, and cleaned all the parts. Now we're going to go through them and get all the gunk off of them, make sure there's nothing else, and get them ready to re-lube and re-oil and put it back together. For most of my gears, anything that's geared, I like to use a plastic brush and get all the gunk and crap out of each gear, each tooth, between each teeth. So each tooth, I think that's how it said. Get all the gunk out of between each tooth, and then get it ready to re-lube and reinstall. As I mentioned earlier, the cleaning the spool, when I pulled all the drags out, the retaining pin went flying, so I lost the actual retaining pin. So after cleaning and reassembly, I got out some gym clips and made a new retaining pin for my spool. All right, it may not be the prettiest job of making a retaining pin out of a gym clip, but I think it turned out pretty good. All you're really wanting to do is hold all those drag washers in place, and then your actual screw down nut on top is your drag that holds everything. This handle has some issues. The actual rubber on it is just disintegrating, so we're going to go ahead and replace this handle. This is a handle we replaced it with. But I like the size, and I like the way it's easy to grip, and I think it looks good on the reel. So this is my reel. I'll do what I want to with it. I'll go quickly through some of this stuff that I'm cleaning, but this little plastic piece is the anti-reverse, and it has some needle bearings that go in there. So be real careful when you're cleaning it. It also has some little wings that come out of the side of it that you can break off real easily, and then it'll still work, but it won't hold those needle bearings in there like it should. So be careful when cleaning this little piece. All right, here we're going to start reassembly, and start with the needle bearings on this. If you'll notice, the housing for the needle bearing has a dot on one side and not on the other. Make sure that dot is sticking up, or at least looking towards you as you reassemble it. Here I'm applying a real thick glob of grease in each of the slide, each hole for the needle bearings. And what it does, it just makes it easier for you set the needle bearing in there and it stay in place. So slather it is not hurt anything to have a lot of grease right there. So slather a lot of grease in there, and real grease. Make sure it's real grease. I'm using, I think this is Eagle Claw real grease, and slather a lot in, and then individually pull out your needle needle bearings and place them one at a time in there. So be real careful and make sure they seat properly. And if you're doing this, make sure you take lots of pictures and record what you're doing and how things go, because I think the actual needle bearings are upside down at this point, or the control arm that engages the needle bearings is upside down. But I had to pull it back out and reseat it, and it ends up being I hate doing things over and over and over again, but it looks like that's what I ended up having to do. So I had to pull that out, reseat the needle bearings, and luckily they stayed. Most of them stayed in place because all the grease I put in there. Yeah, I had a couple that popped out of place, but with a little patience and some exasperated sighs. With some exasperated sighs, we've got it back into place. So I think we're going to move on and put the actual engage. There's an engage or a control arm that engages this anti-reverse. You can have it on or off. So I think we're putting that in next. And when dealing with any springs, this little small spring that keeps it in place, put your arm or hand over it as you try to pull the spring, or that spring will shoot away. And these little small ones, you'll never find them. They're just so small, so hard to find unless you're in a perfectly white room or something. But yeah, put a finger over it or a hand over it so it doesn't fly away. And let me also say here, there's a little screw-in control arm control that screws into the control arm that engages and disengages that. Go ahead and put the screw and put the little control on there, because as we'll find out a little bit later, if you don't do that, that whole piece will fall out, including all the little needle bearings. So yeah, go ahead and do that now. And after that, we're going to work on our oscillation gear, our oscillation drive gear. What it does, it moves the spool up and down, so the line doesn't wind just in one spot. It winds up and down the real spool. So it's a really cool little gadget that makes that thing move back and forth. We're going to clean that up and lube it up really good. We're using the Eagle Claw Real Lube and the grease, and go from there. I'm applying liberal amounts of grease back on most of the gears and stuff. I'd put them in the ultrasonic cleaner and put a little Dawn dishwashing detergent in there with it. It's a good grease cutter. It cuts out most of that grease off. Some of it you still have to pull out and clean it up, but it really does a good job of cutting all the grease and oils and stuff off the pieces. Once you clean them up, then you definitely have to grease them and oil them back up before you put them back in. Now this is your main gear that I'm lubing back up and trying to get into place. And this is primarily what you look at when you have multiple ball bearings. You'll put a ball bearing on one side of it and then on the other side of it. But a lot of them have gone to just doing plastic bearings right there, just plastic pieces that hold the drive gear in place. We're going to lube this up, and hopefully this shows us when you try to jump ahead, things tend to fall out if you don't have them secured in place. And we'll do a quick test fit to make sure everything's fitting in place properly. And look it on the side. Oh, what is that? Let's see. That is our anti-reverse needle bearing housing, and all the needle bearings and the control arm and the spring that just fell out. So we'll try to reinstall that and put the spring back in and make it proper. And once again, I can't emphasize enough, if you put these little springs in, make sure you put your hand over it or secure the spring before you put some tension on it, or it will fly away. I'll show you a little later, my little drag spring is missing, and I'm going to have to replace it with a bobby pin or something. We'll see. Next up will be the pinion gear. We'll get that all cleaned up and put back into place. Next will be the sleeve that pushes into the one-way clutch assembly, or the what I've been calling the anti-reverse assembly, but it's the one-way clutch assembly. Anti-reverse, whatever. Slide that in. And it fits. We will go ahead right here and secure the oscillator gear, the oscillator that moves your spool back and forth. We're going to go ahead and secure that in place and continue assembly. And here I'm putting in one of the bushings for the real driver, the main gear. At least I think it's got a little bit of nylon, a little steel. It doesn't have a bearing in it, but it's probably the next best thing. Here I am installing the only bearing that we have on the the center shaft bearing, and as you notice, it goes in right there, but it would help if I put the bearing seat in there first, so that's what we need to do there. All right, we're going to drop the really nice brass bearing seat in there, and then we'll drop the actual bearing down in it. Bearing only requires just a little oil, but it's the first thing that seems to rust in any of these reels. So. All right, now we're going to stick in the oscillator. I like that word, oscillator. And it sits on that little oscillating gear. And then we're going to do the oscillating shaft down in the main shaft and all the way into the side of the oscillator and screw that in. All right, and this brings us to the old bell. There is several different little S-hooks and springs that go along on this. So once again, if you don't have to tear this down, don't. I tore it down just to show y'all, but once again, it's really, really difficult to get it all back together right. I'm just going to let this play and kind of see if you can follow along. And there's once again, the springs and the little nylon spring holders are just a pain. And you have the little small S-hook here that still does not want to go in. You got to kind of finagle it to get her go in and get her on the spring properly. So good to have a nice little small pair of pliers, but it can be so frustrating getting that thing in there right. But with perseverance, we got it going. And once again, like I said, if you don't have to tear this thing down, don't. It's not it's not going to be something that goes bad on you. The bearings on the inside are going to be the first thing that goes. This one really probably just needs a little oil and step back on the reel. So. Well, yeah, it looks like it's all back together now. The whole bell system is on the reel and is functioning. We put the retaining nut back on, and don't forget the top gear and your top washer. That's your drag washer. Once you put the top back on, all you have to do is align all the drag washers on the inside. And don't forget that wonderful gem clip retaining that gem clip retaining spring in there. just as a rusted reel must be cleaned and restored to function again, our hearts, corroded by sin, can only be renewed through the saving grace of Jesus Christ. His salvation restores our purpose and reconnects us to the divine, much like a reel made new for its true purpose. Jesus loves fishermen. He chose them to be his disciples to spread his good news. And reel repair is a fun hobby for me. I enjoy doing it, and if I don't get all the terminology correct, hey, just correct me later. Other than that, this has been Dusty with Rusty Reels. I'm out.